Hello, this is Ethan Mussolini, the Merchant of Success, and welcome to this presentation. And today we are going to talk about how to make this year your best ever. In this presentation, we are going to look at the following: why it's important to make it your best year ever, what you should focus on to make it big, 9 secrets on how to make this year your very best, 5 potential dangers that might stop you from making this your best year ever and how to solve them, how to keep the fire burning throughout the year. In other words, how to keep the success momentum. So why focus on making this year your best ever? I love that quote, that you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough, by Mae West. It's one of my favorite quotes. So if you have this one life to live, so why not make this one year the best ever? Otherwise, you and me, who knows, maybe this is our year. So more on why it's important to make this your best year ever. You'll be able to achieve more if that's your focus. You'll be proud of yourself for what you would have achieved. Then remember, you are also an ever-expanding being. You're always growing. You're always making things happen. So in other words, you should always be evolving also to better your best, in other words. And as you make this year your best ever, then you become happier. All right. And remember, as a result, you also have better relationships because people love successful personalities, and you also attract higher quality people. And there won't be regrets because you gave it your very best. So, what you should focus on to make it big. Now we are looking at the different sections that I told you about. Pay attention to. So write these questions down, or as fast as you can, or if you have access to the recording of this presentation, you can go back. One is, where are you coming from? In other words, what happened last year, or how was it like? Now these are questions which you can just write and then reflect on later. Where are you now? And where do you want to go? And how do you get there? Now, the good news is I'm going to break these down for you. So I'm going to go question by question to give you a breakdown on how you should expand from there. All right, where are you coming from? In other words, last year reflections. Or we could call it last year's. Yeah, last. So those are last year's reflections. So those are some of the questions that we'll be looking at. Okay, last year's reflections. What did you achieve? Again, you see, before we can look at where you want to go, what your desires are, it's also critical to reflect on where you've come from, because then it will give you perspective on what is possible or how far you can expand. So that's why it's critical to look at last year's reflections. One is, what did you achieve? In other words, what did you make happen? 2, what are you grateful for about last year? What makes you smile as you think about last year? You see, as you look at last year with gratitude and what you achieved, it will give you energy and the zest for life and to explore and to expand and push yourself to the next level. It will give you energy, I guarantee you that. Now, the challenging part, where did you fall short and how can you address that moving forward? You see, the key is not to fall short. The key is to learn from that and see how you can move forward without necessarily doing the same mistakes you did in the past. And what did you learn? What were your lessons? You see, lessons we learn from our challenges are gifts. So you want to carry those with you in this year. Now we want to look at Now, we want to look at your now, where you are now. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is your ideal, where are you now in your health and vitality, spirituality, finances, career, family and relationships, or love for that matter, mental growth, and lastly, contribution. So what we are looking at here is to see, okay, this is where you are now, but of course you have an ideal image, so that's something for you to think about. So as you think about that, what is it that as you think about this area, what is it? For example, health and vitality, what is it? So you could, for example, say, okay, I'm at a level 9. I'm trying to use my little pencil here and to see what sort of magic we can create. So the key is to ask ourselves, okay, so as you think about that, let's say it's level 9, then how do you push it to level 10? And maybe for spirituality, it could be level 7 as an example. So in other words, you begin to play around with it and figure out what it is that you want. Because you see, in life, as you look at this, as you think about it, or you just say, okay, so if I want to be here, but right now I'm here, therefore it will give you a trajectory on how far you have to go, that distance. So in other words, you're here, assuming this is you, yeah, forgive my art, I didn't pass it on. So you're here, but your dream is right here. Therefore, you have to measure and think and reflect and say, you know what? This is the gap right here. This is the gap which I have to fill in moving forward next year. So when you know that, then you'll be able to discover the kind of strategies that you will need to put in place to make it happen. Hopefully that makes sense, yeah? Good. Next, you need to think about your ideal future. Now, what do you have to achieve to make it your best year ever? Now, remember, we looked at the where you're coming from, where you are now. Now we want to reflect on where you want to go. One is, again, the old stories we went through, or the old areas we went through. Health and vitality, spirituality. And when I say spirituality, by the way, I mean your relationship to your creator. In my case, it's God. Some people use other words like source. But for me, really, spirituality, relationship to your creator and to humanity, how you relate to people. So health and vitality, it could be what sort of future do you want to create in terms of energy, in terms of vitality, in terms of vibrancy. So what is it? This is a critical area. Do you want to be the kind of person who is always running, with energy, or just jumping up in the air, celebrating, saying yahoo? So what sort of person do you want to become? So when we say finances, how much money do you want to create per month, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis? How much dollars do you want to bring into your account, or to bear for that matter? So finances, think about that and think of the possibilities. Career, do you want to get a degree and get a master's or a PhD, or what is it? Do you want to become the head of the organization, of the business, and call the shots? Or what is it? Or do you want to be self-employed? What is it that you want to achieve in your career? What is it? Family and relationships. Are there new friends you want to create? But when we talk about relationships, really typically we are talking about love. Yeah, and at the end of the day, you want to think and reflect and say, okay, with my family this coming year or this year, what do I need to do to create that passion, that connection, that zest, that moment in my life that will make me feel like, wow, it was a fantastic year that I had. Maybe you need to spend more time with your children. And how much time? How about mental growth? You need to keep growing as a person, because if you don't, you won't experience the true magic. Because life is, you should focus on going like that, not staying stationary. So how much do you want to feed in your head or in your mind, for that matter? Next is contribution. What do you want to bring to the globe, to this world, to your community? What is it? So you have to think about it and reflect and decide on what you want to bring to the world, to this world. Let me see whether my marker will be able to bring it here. I think I would make, I think you can see how part of my contribution is art, hopefully. Alright, anyway, as you might notice, part of who I am is I like having fun. I'm a high energy guy. So you see me laughing, you see me drawing things, so that's me. And hopefully, well, hopefully you are playing along, and if not, well, that's also fine. Now, how to make it successfully? Now, let's talk about the 9 secrets to guarantee your success this year. One is you have to prioritize your goals. So you have all those goals you've written down in these different areas that we talked about. If I bring you here again, in these 7 different areas, so you have many goals. But of course, it can't be each and every goal that you're going to look at. So you have to prioritize. And why? Because when you prioritize, you focus and you increase your chances of success. Truth be told, you can't just achieve everything. Otherwise, not achieve everything, sorry. You can't pursue so many things at a go. Otherwise, like chasing 3 rabbits at the same time, you might end up losing all of them. So why not focus on one rabbit? Or focus on one rabbit, get it, then start pursuing another. That's why it's important to think that way. Now, how can you do that? Choose one major goal per category. Of the 7 categories I gave you in the last 2 slides or so, choose one goal, and the way you measure that is to ask yourself this one question: what is the one thing? What is that one thing that if you did it, you'd feel like, wow, it was an amazing year? Just one. Because when you do, then you are going to put all your energies on that, and when you do that, then it makes you feel like, wow. Because one goal is much easier to achieve than, say, pursuing 10 different goals at the same time. Now, the key is to make it specific, measurable, and scheduled. Scheduled means you give it a time frame. You don't just talk about it, you schedule it. That what you schedule will get done most of the times. So put it on your calendar, whatever it is, and so that you know that, hey, this is the time for me to work on it, and put it on your, and because when you put it on your calendar, then wonderful things are going to happen. You'll be motivated and inspired to pursue it. For example, it could be health. You decide that I'll exercise 3 times a week for 30 minutes. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Even better, you could specify. And you could decide and say, for example, I wake up in the morning at 6:30 a.m. So meaning 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. that's when you're working out. Because now when you know that, hey, that is the time, then it will be very easy to measure. If you have someone who is keeping you accountable, they can just ask you, hey, did you work on your cardio? Did you work on your flexibility? Did you work on your exercise this morning between 6:30 and 7 a.m.? So it's critical to schedule it. When you schedule it, it sounds feasible, it sounds more measurable, and it motivates you even further. Secret number 2, you must have strong reasons why. In other words, you must have a purpose for your goals. Don't just set a goal where we've come from here. Don't just set a goal. Then, to make it even more feasible, have a strong why. Have a purpose. Why is that important? Because there's that famous quote by Friedrich Nietzsche that he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. It's the fuel that will drive you. You know, a story is told of how some strong men were struggling to climb a very steep hill to save a child who had been stuck at the top. So as they were climbing along, they are panting, they are sweating, stopping midst the way to breathe hard and to rest. Then came this other woman. She was just trudging along, climbing this particular hill so fast, like crazy. She's moving so fast and leaving these other guys somewhere down here. So they asked, hey, how come you're moving so fast? She said that child, the person you're trying to save, is my child. So if you have something or someone so important, however steep the hill might be, or however challenging the journey might be, you will find yourself moving fast, having enough energy that will push you. That's what I mean by the fuel. It will push you to go to the top much quicker. So what is your why? You have to define it. You have to know it. So there's even now, this one is not even a story. It's been documented of a lady of medium size whose child was stuck under the car, and she later lifted that car to save the child. When she was being interviewed on camera later, they asked her, so how did you do it? She said, I don't know, but I just had to save my child. So, but you see, when we are committed, when we have a purpose, then unforeseen forces come to bear. You'll be moved, you'll be pushed. But when you just write a goal without any emotional attachment, without any purposeful drive, then you will fall short for some reason. So spend some time, write as many reasons as possible, and that brings us into the how. So you think in terms of the benefits of what you experience when you achieve your goal and what you would lose if you didn't. So what will you experience if you hit your target of earning that particular income figure that you have? What will you buy? What will you experience? Now, if you don't achieve that, what sort of pain will you experience? Make sense? Okay. Plan. That's secret number 3. Why? Because you'll have a roadmap and it will save you time from second guessing. You see, if you don't plan, it's like moving along the road, and there are many trajectories at the end of the day, or different directions. So if you don't have a clear plan, so it could be you here, and then once you get to this intersection, you're wondering, now where do I go? Do I take that route? Do I take that route? Do I take that route? So the time you spend in terms of finding out what choices you should have here, the choices you'd have here, if you had planned much earlier and say, you know what, this is the direction I'm going to take, this is the roadmap, I'm going to go left, right, or center, that's it. So it saves you time. You're not second guessing. Then before long, assuming you had chosen to go straight here, then when you come, you don't stop, you just go shoop. So do you see how you get to there where you're going faster? So that's what it takes. Plan ahead. And as you think about that, this is how you do it. How do you do that? Brainstorm, say 20 to 25 ideas. Just don't stop. Don't judge anything. Just be as creative as possible. Make the best that you can create in that moment, but target 20 to 25 ideas. Then pick out the best 3, because the best 3 which you think are feasible, they are practical, and you can make it happen. Then start now with the most practical of those 3. Choose out the key word here, the operative word is now, because again, we don't know about tomorrow, but now, that's where the opportunity is, because that's the only guarantee we have. We don't have a guarantee about tomorrow, but we definitely have a guarantee for today. Okay. Secret number 4, start. Why? That waiting for perfect conditions will keep you stuck. So how do you start? Number 1 is, I like how one marketer, Justin Glover, put it, that you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it going. So that should be your mindset, because the house is not just the action, but it is also the mindset, because it's the mindset that drives you, that challenges you, that pushes you, that tickles you to do whatever it is that you have to do. So that's the critical mindset. You don't have to get it right, just get it going. Man, just get it going. If you get nothing else from this presentation, just start. Then the rest you will improve along the way. Part of the challenges, we want to get it perfect first before we can get going. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, I'm using PowerPoint here, but Windows. I remember when I was learning computer, there was this DOS. What if Bill Gates said, hey, you know what, this DOS thing doesn't look good, let's wait until we perfect this thing? No, every year there is a version coming out. Every year there is a version coming out. So the key is you get it going and then you perfect later. I think that's something I should add. The key word is perfect later. Ooh, this sort of handwriting, I don't understand, but maybe I will still also find a way to perfect it. But hopefully you're getting my drift here. Perfect later. But the challenge is we sometimes want to have perfection first and then action later. I mean to get the project out there later. No way. So even this presentation, there are things I was thinking of doing and adding. But you know what? I said I have to get it going. Maybe in future I could decide to add something, and I could improve the version later. But if I was to get stuck, then hopefully you're getting some value out of this. But if I was to wait for perfection, then you and I wouldn't have had this wonderful interaction, which I appreciate, by the way, and hopefully in the future we'll interact some more. The other key is, once you get it going, the other key, besides the mindset of getting it going, is once you choose one of the key things that would be most practical, is choose one thing, just one, and make it happen within the next 24 hours. When you make that decision, get it going like that. That will give you momentum. Secret number 5 is you have to upgrade your relationships. Why? Because the people you hang around influence how far you go in life. See, like these wonderful personalities here. So, you know, if either of these is into jumping into the water, guess what? They are going to jump in. If 3 of these people are into laying down, guess what? Whoever is being influenced the most will lay down. So the key is to ask yourself, are the people that I'm relating with worth it, or I have to improve? So this is how you do. This is how you move forward. One is you ask yourself, who nourishes me? Who inspires me? And who sucks energy out of me? Typically, there are those 3 types of people. There are those who nourish, there are those who inspire, there are those who suck energy out of you. So if you're to make it your best year ever, then you need to think about this. Spend more time with people who nourish you. Let me underline that. People who inspire you. People who inspire means they they believe in you, they motivate you, or they could be personalities whose lives you love. And this might be it could be a kind of life you want to live, or they have achieved the sort of dreams you want to achieve. So the key is, do you want to live the life that those people are living, the people you spend the most time with? Do you find them nourishing or inspiring? If not, then spend less time with them. And I say less, it means you can't avoid. But if you can't avoid, or you should just spend no time with them. If you can avoid it, please hear me out. If this is your spouse or child, you're not going to run away from them, but it might also mean that then you see how to influence the people in your life, say your spouse or your child or whoever it is, to be better, to be nourishers, rather than people who suck energy. And of course, you're not going to frame it that way, but it might mean seeing how to influence them, maybe give them a book or an audio or a DVD to see how they can think about life differently in a more positive way. But if there are people who suck energy out of you, just move away and replace them with, and find other people who can nourish you. Now, does not mean that you see people who are sucking energy out of you and you start running away and you start abusing them. I'm saying you also have to be protective of your energy. Remember, your energy is like this ball here. So the key is you should be sharing energy and also receiving energy. But if all you do is you have people who are taking away, soon enough your amount of energy will become smaller like that. And you don't want that. You want people who can expand you, who can increase you, who can nourish you, so that before long you are this big in terms of influence, in terms of power and energy. Make sense? Good. Hopefully we are together. Number 6, upgrade your attitude and thoughts. Why? I like that quote from Thomas Jefferson, that nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal, and nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. So how do you make that happen? Pay attention to your input, the books, the CDs, and most importantly, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Sometimes I hear people who say, by the way, I know you've heard it before, but let me give you an example here. Please, if I may have your attention for a second. I want you to pay attention to your mind. Don't think about an elephant. Now, what happened to your mind? I bet you thought about an elephant. Why? Because our subconscious minds are not able to differentiate the negative from the positive, or it picks things in terms of images. So when you plant the word elephant, it has no choice but to pick up that word elephant. So rather than going there and say, oh, I don't want to be late, I don't like this, then guess what? You're planting those images of getting late, for example. Instead, say, I'm choosing to get early to work. Or instead of saying, oh, I'm tired of this weight, I'm tired of being too heavy. No, instead, focus on being lighter. Focus on having your perfect weight. So the key is, pay attention to your input. And also, pay attention to what you are having in your mind, in your head. The inner conversation. What is the conversation that you're having? That inner conversation is the one that will hurt you or inspire you, that will build you or kill you. So a positive attitude and paying attention to your thoughts, that inner conversation. What is the inner conversation that is going on in your brain? What are you telling yourself? Because you have to stop. If you're to make this year your best ever, You have to upgrade the sort of thoughts that are coming in. We want positive thoughts, positive charges, and forget about the negatives. Does that make sense? And this is what I want for you. Positive thoughts, my friend. Pay attention to your inner conversation. This is one of my favorite. Welcome discomfort. Why? That the comfort zone keeps you in mediocre zone. You deserve high performance zone, which is in discomfort. In other words, you have to stretch out. Some people feel comfortable in these tiny boxes. No way. Get out of it. Aren't you tired of this box? Get out. Your dream is out here, not in here. In here is too small for you. Stop living this small life, my friend. Part of what has inspired me to record this for you is I believe this is not your world. Your future, your dream is out here, somewhere beyond the box. That's why some people say that don't think outside the box, think away from the box. Now, how can you make that happen? Dare something bigger and do it. Now, I don't know what that is for you because I'm not in your shoes. Maybe you know what it is. You know what this box represents. And you know what the future is possible. I know that it requires you to stretch. It's uncomfortable, but you know what? That's what it will take for you to have that sense of high performance. Next is you have to work on your inner self. Because as you stretch out, you see this person here is in this tiny box because guess what? Their thinking is of being inside the tiny box. So if this person right is to step out, guess what? She has to first change the brain here, what she's thinking about. So you have to not only dare something big, but think big. Work on those limiting beliefs. Clear them. Visualize bigger things. Because then that's what will support you in your new journey to move out. Make sense? Good. Next is you have to upgrade your spirituality. Why? That we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So we cannot run away from the essence of spirit because that's who you are. How do we make that happen? Connecting to your creator. For me, I like spending time praying, reflecting, because you're spending some quiet time deep inside. Deep reflection once again. And lastly, remember to love and appreciate everyone and everything. That everything happens for a reason. Every experience you've gone through, there is a reason for it. That God created the world and everything was good. That everything is good. Now, to be honest with you, there are situations I go through and I don't feel like staying there. And I've noticed that part of what liberates me is when I remind myself that, you know what, there's a reason for this and find a way to celebrate it, to love it. I'm not yet there, to be honest with you, but this is a challenge I'm living with you to say, you know what, upgrade, find a way to think at the level of love of everyone and everything. You see, it's very easy to love when all is well and good, but when there are challenges, that's what separates boys from men and women from girls, to be able to love regardless, to be able to appreciate regardless, just because of having upgraded your level of spiritual quotient. Last secret before we move on to the next section. Keep going. This journey, once you start it, keep going, my friend. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. I don't know where it will end, but guess what? It's critical. Why is that? That the only way to fail is to stop. What I mean by that is, assuming this is, why I like that quote from Jonathan Bard is, assuming this is the final destination. Now you might go find some stops here, then go, then find challenges, sometimes even seem to be going backwards. You know what some people do? They give up here. But the champions know that their job is to keep going. They keep searching. They keep searching. And sometimes they go, sometimes the losers, they are so close, they get here like, I'm tired of this thing. But you know what? You could even veer off. Don't give up. You could go on that side. Don't give up. Find a way until finally you'll make it to your destination. But the only way for you to fail is to stop. Just keep going. So how can you keep going? One is focus on the next step. That's all you need to do. Sometimes we know where we want to go and we see this, and you're standing here and you're thinking to yourself, boy, this is, oh God, whatever it is you want to call it. And you're thinking, you know what? This journey is too long. What do I do? Some people give up. The key is don't think of the whole journey. Think of the next step. Then once you're done, the next step will get clearer. Then once you're done with that, the next step will get clearer. So that's what it takes. Before long, you're right there, baby. Keep telling yourself, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And guess what? You're getting there. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. By the way, I don't believe in accidents. I believe that there's a reason why you're listening to me. I don't know what it is. And of course, there is also a reason for me recording this for you, or sharing this with you, and giving you this gift. I'm sharing my gifts. I love sharing. But you know what? How come it's you? Of the billions of people, how come you're the one listening to me? So the question is to ask yourself, what is it that I've said, or I'm going to say, that is the thing that you're supposed to carry with you? And carry that with you in your heart. And most importantly, into action. Now, let's talk about potential dangers and solutions. And we are going to talk about how to navigate what might stop you. Number one is discouragement and ridicule. You know, stuff happens. But the question is, as you're moving into this year to make it the best of the best, you'll have even people who will ridicule you, who will discourage you. Some circumstances will discourage you. Most importantly, discouragement. I'm talking about external discouragement. Ever been beaten down? Here's how to manage that. Keep affirming positive words to yourself. Like, I can do it. I know I'll get there. I know this is my year. This is my turn. This is my time. Read positive literature. Because you see, if you're discouraged and you read discouraging literature, then that is a double whammy, my friend. You have to get out of it. Remind yourself as to why that goal is important to you. Keep telling yourself. For example, you could be working hard to build a home for your mother or your father or your auntie or whoever it is. So you have to keep reminding yourself of that. So as you remind yourself, then that will be your fuel once again. Now, these people who discourage you, remind yourself that it is your life. Don't fall into their trap. This is your life, my friend. Live it the way you want to live it. Of course, so long as it is legal, moral, and ethical. I like adding that disclaimer. Number two, or the second danger to be aware of, attraction to the old comfort zone. Now, as you get out of this shell, there could be unfamiliar zones, and you're thinking, you know what? I better get back to the shell. I was all protected and safe. But you know what? Remember, if you get back in, then you'll stay that small instead of a much bigger chicken or cock in this case. I don't know how the shape would look like. See? Could be that big if she chooses to go back in, she'll stay smaller. That size. That size. That size. And you know what in life? That's what holds us sometimes. We choose to go back. We cover ourselves and we stay that small instead of this big. So that's the danger, my friend. I want you to stretch. So the solution is to remind yourself that you deserve a high performance zone. Tell yourself that this is where I belong. Not in here. Not in here, but out there. Remind yourself once again that I'm much more than that. Always remember that. Tell yourself that I'm much more than that. I deserve greater things. Danger number 3 to be aware of is that there will be challenges and tough times. You'll fall down. And you know what? At the end of the day, when you win, my friend, people do not recall the number of times that you fail. They'll remember the day you celebrated with victory. So the key is to remember that you're here to win. And some of these challenges, they test our mettle to figure us out. That, are you for real? What's the solution? I like that quote from Robert Schuller, that tough times never last, but tough people do. It was actually a quote from, it was the title of his book, which I read many years ago. So when you're going through a tough time, remember that. When you fall down, remember that tough times never last, but tough people do. And you are tough, aren't you? The other key is to ask yourself powerful questions. What am I learning from this? That every challenge has within it a lesson. Even a success, by the way. So, ask yourself, what's the lesson here? What am I learning? What am I learning here? And pick it. Next, what is great about this? See, when you do that, then it shifts the way you're thinking. It pushes you to expand, because I like that saying that life, God can't take you through something unless within you there is some innate ability to handle it. Life will test you sometimes, but the question is, are you going to cower down and bow down, or stand up and say, here I am, what is great about this, and go grab it with 2 arms. The other challenge you have to be aware of that might stop is failure to track. Because if you don't track it, how will you know you've gotten there? What's the solution? Review your progress on a weekly basis. Daily is even better. Get a notebook, a journal, and track your progress. Ask yourself, what did I do today to realize my goals? Because remember, you have those amazing goals you set. Then ask yourself, how close am I to my goals? Because remember, you have about 7 goals. So every day you have to ask yourself, assuming these goals are housed here. So every day ask yourself, am I getting closer or away from my goals? And if you're getting closer, celebrate it. What did you learn? It's a landmark. Thank God for that. Thank yourself for that. Next day, you figure out, oh, I'm getting closer. I'm just 7 meters away. Good. Then it motivates you. Before it was 14 meters maybe. It was 14 meters away. Now it is 7. You're celebrating. You're saying, wow. You're here celebrating. You're thinking to yourself, that's amazing. Yeah? So the key is to keep track. Because you could be off track while you have this illusion that you're still on track towards your goals. So keep track. Write down. The other danger to be aware of, the last danger before we conclude, is lack of consistency. Start, stop, start, stops. It's what I call the start, stop syndrome. You know those things where, and I've had it in my personal life before, and hopefully I'll manage it moving forward. And sometimes this creeps up, this start, stop syndrome. I'm still working on it, but it's so dangerous, my friend. We have to get into another zone of consistency. So how can we achieve that? Schedule it, time it out, build a habit. Be patient for 30 to 40 days because it takes that much time. Some people put it 21 days, but I would say average 30 to 40 days. So be patient. You'll get up, you'll fall down, you get up, you'll fall down, but stay at it. Before long, it will become a habit. Now that we've talked about, so remember, we've talked about two things. One, two main things to be aware of. Yeah? What should you be aware of as you're making this the best year ever? Hopefully you remember what we talked about. Things like where you're coming from, where are you now, and where do you want to go. Number two, we talked and we clarified some goals. You defined some goals. You prioritized them. You thought about them. Then you chose the key goals that you want to achieve in the 7 areas of your life. Things like spirituality, areas like spirituality, health, vitality, love or relationships. Then number 2, we looked at the 9 secrets on how you can make those goals come true. We talked about things like stepping out of your comfort zone, upgrading your spirituality, upgrading your friends. And number 3, we talked about the 5 dangers to be aware of and how to solve them. One of which, the latest, is the lack of consistency. Now, how do we move forward? How do you attain success momentum? How do you keep that fire burning? Hopefully you have some fire under you and you have to fire it up every day. There are 2 options to keep the momentum. One is to get an accountability partner. Someone whom you can, so right now, even if I show you option number 2, is right now, find someone whom you can tell and promise, say, you know what, for the next 40 days, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to achieve. This coming year, this is what I'm going to do. Let's keep ourselves accountable. You can give each other a call on a weekly basis or monthly basis, but ideally on a weekly basis, you schedule 30 minutes telephone call to keep each other accountable. That's a good option. Now, the best option is to hire a coach. So, why hiring a momentum coach is the best option, is the best solution? It's because usually when it's a coach, unlike a partner, which is still fantastic, because I would want, even if you get a coach or not, it would still be important to have a partner. But sometimes our partners can be attached to certain emotions because they could be your friend. And a coach, they bring a certain level of professionalism, and there is that sense of commitment because they're thinking, okay, all right, so and so paid me, I better commit to their success also. Now, here is the deal. I would like to give you an opportunity to be your coach. You're welcome to utilize me as your coach. So I want us to spend an hour together, and I enable you to walk through some of the things I've talked about, the personal strategic planning session. And during that session, by the end of that 1 hour, whether on phone or Skype or face-to-face, if in the vicinity, we will look at the following. We will clarify your vision and goals. We will strategize your actions and make sure that you know the key things you have to do to realize your goals. Then we'll figure out what's holding you back and what to do about it. Because sometimes we clarify our vision, we strategize our actions, but if you do not address what is holding you back, because you could be here and you want to get here, and yet there could be some walls that some of them are invisible, because some of them are based on attitudes. So unless we identify what they are and we crush them, so that what was a barrier before is now a road, and I can help you do that. Then once we crush them, then you're able to get to your direction much faster. You're able to get there like a rocket. And by the end of the session, you should feel motivated and inspired to take action. Now, there will also be an opportunity presented to you to work together on a long-term basis if you like the personal strategic planning session that we'll have together. So the investment is $250, but for a limited time, you can have this for $100 and you save $150. So if you act now, hopefully by the time you act, this link will still be available. So you have to act as fast as possible. Now, if at the end of the session, by the way, you are not fully satisfied, I can guarantee you a refund. So I guarantee that you'll find that it was worth your while, that it was worth your time to chat with you, to strategize with you, to clarify your future about how you want to move forward in terms of making this year your best ever. That's my guarantee. It will be worth it, or you get 100% money back guarantee. You just email me or email my assistant, and I'll be giving you the contacts shortly, and then we are good to go. Now, moving forward, I want to thank you, and regardless of whether you work with me or not, you now have the ideas and strategies to make it your best year ever. Remember this: the 9 secrets to making it your best year ever is you have to prioritize your goals, have strong reasons why, plan, start now, upgrade your relationships, upgrade your attitude and thoughts, welcome discomfort. Remember to upgrade your spirituality. Keep going until you get there. And if you want to get there faster, hire a coach, and I would be happy to partner with you on your journey to support you get there faster. So visit the link below for details. That is ethanmussolini.com/bestyear.html. Once again, it's Ethan, that is ethanmussolini.com/bestyear.html. I would like to, till then, make it your best year ever. God bless.